Hello and welcome to Chit Chat and All That with me, Amanda Prowse.
And me, Penny Dommett. Thank you again for joining us for your weekly dose of chatter. We're going to be talking about all the things that we usually discuss around the table.
Your weekly dose of sunshine and laughter from our kitchen table.
Sunshine, laughter, thought-provoking, some of it not thought-provoking at all, some of it very, very random.
I like the fact that we actually try not to be as random as we usually are. Because, in any given day we can go from Tesco to dog paws, to gardening, to books, to dog snoring, and it just, in seconds, can't we?
We definitely can. But hopefully you feel that you can listen to us chat and have some input and message us, definitely. It's really important to chat, don't you think? And chat lightly. It doesn't have to be deep and meaningful sometimes.
No, actually, I think they're kind of often... Oh, sorry, we've got bird call in the background.
Oh,
can you identify that? It's a little cuckoo?
I think it's a little pigeon.
Oh, a pigeon. Oh, yeah. A pigeon. I love a pigeon. I do love a pigeon. That was the zoo of my childhood, watching them play on the tube tracks.
Town pigeons.
Town pigeons. Urban pigeons.
That's it, yes.
But no, it is important to chat. And I think, life's hard and life's fast and life's difficult. And I don't know if I'm just speaking for myself, but sometimes my head feels like it's going to explode with everything I'm trying to sort of handle and contain and think about. And, that's just everyday life before you throw in things like grief or worry or the state of the world. And I think you're absolutely right that to be able to just let off some steam and talk about things that don't really matter that much, I think it's really good for you, isn't it?
I think it is. I really think it is. And we are very privileged to have someone to chat to. But even if you can, do you ever strike up conversation? Do you know, when you're out, are you one of those people that just keeps your head down and does your shopping, don't want to talk to anyone? Or are you the person that suddenly will smile at someone and go, "Good morning, how are you?"
That is me. I talk to everyone. I find some of the best conversations I have, present company accepted, tend to happen in a queue in the supermarket.
So you are the weirdo on the bus that comes to sit next to you.
Bus chats are the best chats, Pen. In fact, I always say the best thing I can do, my happiest time, is riding the night bus when people have been considerate enough to leave their curtains open and their lights on. Am I just very nosy?
Very nosy.
The things you see though, Pen, all life just passing by on that night bus, I bloody love it. But no, I do chat to people and it's weird, isn't it? You can always get a vibe whether someone wants to talk to you, or maybe I'm not good at reading those situations. But I always think, particularly if someone lives alone or is, elderly, or, you just don't know what people are going through. You might be the only friendly person they've spoken to that day, assuming I'm friendly. Sometimes I might be like, what? Get out of it. I've had enough. I'm trying to pay for me fish fingers. Fish fingers, obviously a recurring theme today. But no, I don't know. I think it's important sometimes to just talk to people. You know when people need a chat, don't you?
I think as well, it's always so much easier when you've got the dog with you. Do you know what? If you've got a dog with you, people feel that they can come up and go, "Oh, isn't he a lovely boy?" And then they can start up a conversation. That's the way to find a new partner.
Are you looking for a new partner? Hello, where's that from?
No, but I mean, if you were, you need to borrow a friend's dog.
If one was, take a dog. It's weird. I walk the dogs a lot around Ilfracombe, which is obviously, as you know, my favourite place on the planet. And people go, "Oh, Dotty, Bo!" And they literally will converse with the dogs and not look at me. And I think, what am I, chopped liver? They just completely ignore you and talk to the dog. Is that because it's easier? They're not going to be judged, or... there's not going to be any awkward silence because it's all silent. I don't know.
It is an odd thing. People do talk to your dog. Mind you, perhaps they'd talk to if you had a toddler in a pushchair, they would probably chat to the toddler in the pushchair as well, rather than looking at you, wouldn't they?
Possibly. I don't know. I think dogs are probably easier to approach, are they? It's like it feels less...
People always had trouble with my Doberman.
Oh,
I know. Most wonderful dog ever.
Special dog.
Yes, very special. People are always a bit wary of large Dobermans.
It's because of our age, we're all thinking about was it Roald Dahl? The Rosebud, and it was about a Doberman that was primed to attack.
Really?
Do you remember that short story? It was made into one of these plays that you saw on a Friday night that you used to have to watch from the stairs because your mum and dad said it was a bit grown up. Probably meant there was bum-bums in it. You weren't allowed to watch it. But yeah.
Not Tales of the Unexpected.
Yes.
As I'm doing the...
That's a very good visual pen for
Thank
a
you.
podcast.
Thank you.
And I probably shouldn't sing the theme tune because we can't afford the royalties.
No, it didn't. Actually, it didn't matter because it didn't sound anything like it at all.
And it wasn't that. So,
No.
hey, I'm sure there was one about a Doberman and they were quite fierce.
They were quite odd. That programme was quite strange, wasn't it?
Do you know, I think it's because the age we watched them, I was quite young. And I can remember being deeply scarred and very scared by a couple of them. And one in particular sticks in my mind. I don't know if you remember this one. I can't remember the name of it. I'm sure our lovely listeners will let us know. But it was about a couple who were on a mini road trip and they were bickering and they had a map. And basically they were driving for eternity. They were never going to arrive at their destination because they weren't getting on and they couldn't agree. I think that was kind of the sort of basis of it. But I can just remember thinking, what a terrible, terrible prospect of being stuck in that car. I probably was envisioning our own car with millions of kids on the back seat and, my dad going a bit too fast and my mum going, oh, slow down. And it all just, about to kick off. And that sort of genuine fear that we were never going to arrive. I don't know, but it affected me.
Obviously, that you can remember it all these years later.
I remember everything, Pen.
So, yes, we were talking about chatting.
We were.
And how important it is. So if you want to message us on @thechitchatters, please do. We've had some lovely messages, haven't we?
We really have, particularly funny ones. We got a message from Emily Wilden, a really lovely message saying that she just felt like she was sitting at the kitchen table. And I love that so much.
I do too, except there's not that much room at our kitchen table.
No, I have a lot of clutter. I have more candles than I need. I have matches, phones, your 7 drinks obviously lined up for the next hour.
Well, you just never know, do you?
You
just never know.
No, variety is the spice of life, Pen.
Definitely.
As they say.
So we were going to have a chat about food.
We were, but before we did that, I must tell you, Pen. So I do some very weird things, you may have noticed.
Just a tad.
I have a few things about me that I consider to be odd, and one of them is that I have what I call nighttime Tourette's.
Is that a lozenge?
Oh, it's the weirdest thing. So I was unaware of it because obviously when you sleep alone and you're single, you don't know what you do in the night, do you? You could be snoring and farting and there's no one there to pick you up on it or even comment.
There's an app for that.
I don't want an app for that. And when I first got together with Simeon, not coupled.
That makes you sound like a train.
Or worse. When I first started living with Simeon, obviously after we were married, he alerted me to the fact that in the middle of the night I shout things out. Penny. And I was completely unaware. You're smudging your mascara again. We're going to have to invest
snorted.
We're going to have to invest in some waterproof for you, mate.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But he alerted me to the fact that I shout things out. And I said, give me an example. What do you mean? And he said, well, for example, he'll get up to go to the loo and I will go, where do you think you're going? Like almost in a very instructional or accusatory way. And he'll be like, I'm just going to the loo. Until he realised I was asleep and there was no point answering. But it's not always a long sentence. Sometimes it's things like chutney or bats. It could be anything. Anyway, I thought it was to make you laugh because last night, apparently, he woke up this morning and he said, oh my gosh, he said, you did a classic last night. And I was vaguely aware of some sort of cacophole in the bed. Cacophole? Cacophole. A small amount of cacophole. Not for a while.
I can't speak. I'm sorry.
At this point, ask Mason, our producer, could you just put some music, put some
music.
Music, please, Mace, for 3 seconds, just while Pen tries to stop her eyes from running. And I tried to contain myself, okay? Hold music. Thanks, Mace. Yeah,
and we'll pretend we're in a lift.
I'm gaining control. Marvellous. Thanks, Mace. Essentially, he told me this morning that in the middle of the night, he got up to make his visit and I shouted out, that is not human. Why? What was I thinking or dreaming? That is not human, but like really loudly. He said everyone was like, everyone, he and the dogs. There wasn't anyone else. Just the two of us. Okay,
I have visions of you to say something interesting.
Well, they'd be waiting a long time. But yeah, shouting, that's weird, isn't it? Apparently I do it all the time.
I just wonder where your brain is going at night to make you do these weird things.
I do not know. I mean, I dream very vividly. So it could be that. But what I was thinking, I don't know. Yeah.
Do you remember them when you wake up?
Yeah, I remember all my dreams.
Really?
I remember everything. I am useless at 99.9% of things I do. I'm laughing because you've got mascara. Literally, you look like Poirot. Is it Poirot? Pierrot. What was that clown? Poirot was...
Poirot, so I've got a moustache now.
Poirot was the detective.
Yeah, with a moustache.
What's the clown called that used to have, the China face used to scale?
Pierrot.
That's the one.
Yes.
Pierrot. I never had one in my defence. So that's what you look like.
Right. So next time we do this, I'm just not going to bother putting any makeup on at all.
I wouldn't.
We won't take any photographs.
I'm so glad that in our early episodes we did actually say that we were not going to be slick and professional. Thank goodness.
I think that's gone right out the window.
We
right
put that
out the window.
caveat in.
Yes.
Oh, Pen. Let's talk about another topic. So, cooking.
Yes, cooking. I love a bit of cooking. Actually, I don't like the boring stuff. What are we going to have for supper tonight? That sort of thing.
Do you have a repertoire for supper?
I do. But it tends to just get repeated every 14 days.
Yeah, 14. You've got a lot of dishes then in your arsenal.
Expressed in quite that way. An arsenal of dishes.
An arsenal of dishes.
Yes.
So I can only cook 3 things. So literally, I can't do it every night, otherwise everyone would be so fed up with it. And I've been a vegetarian since I was a little girl, very, very young. But I still cook meat, not very well, but I have a go. But I can only do like a chili, sausages, an egg on toast. That's basically it.
But you see, that's the point. You have to sort of slightly widen your repertoire by having chili, sausages. What was the other thing?
Egg on toast.
Egg on toast. And then what you do is you have chili sausages.
egg and
chili and egg.
Combination.
Yes.
I like it.
I
like it.
We, during COVID, decided that we were going to investigate one of these boxes where they send you the ingredients for meals.
Oh, I've never done that.
Have you not?
No.
You would actually find it quite interesting.
I feel like you were going to say you would actually benefit, and then I feel like you swerved.
I hung back. Because it gives you all the ingredients for a particular meal, and you choose which meal you'd like to have. You get 3 meals in a box. There are various boxes available. We actually had HelloFresh, but there's Gusto and
Stevie and Paul do it.
Mindful Chef and all of that. Yes,
they do it, and Stevie swears by it because she has no waste.
No waste. The other good thing was the portions are much smaller than the mountain of food that I put on our plates. So when we opened up the first box, I thought, they've sent us the wrong box. This can only be for 1 person. But no, it was for 2. But strangely, it was very satisfying. It was fine. It was plenty enough. But they're very clever because if you chose something like spicy pork pasta, then weirdly, the next time you got to choose, it might have been spicy beef pasta or spicy chicken pasta. So it just helps you learn how to integrate different things into your meals and create a completely different dish. And that's all you've got to do is just put a different ingredient in and call it something else. And surprise, surprise.
I suppose your skill set's developing though, isn't it, as well? If
yes. Yeah. And it sort of shows you the different spices and herbs and things you can use. And then it might give you a little bit of courage and confidence to make something, completely off your own back.
I get that, and I think that's what I'm lacking. And I have a huge spice cupboard full of spices, which are 1 part paprika, 3 parts dust. I mean, literally. Honestly, it's embarrassing.
You do know they go off.
Oh, I've had them for some of them are like 1998, 2000. Should I bin them?
I'm afraid to say you should.
Oh.
I'd probably keep the little jar.
Oh, yeah, you would.
Because I think that's...
Turn it into a vase.
Yeah, probably. Yes, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically all I do when I cook is, and of course you can't beat a good roast dinner.
Oh, you
That's
do
my
a
favourite.
you do a mean roast dinner, Pen, I can confirm. I think, I don't know, food's so important, isn't it? Well, obviously food's so important, but food memories and the way it links us to our family and our past and our heritage. And I think there's nothing more beautiful than when I think about the times that my nan would prepare a meal or cook a dish or, and I just think that part of the memory of having the food, the smell, the taste, but being surrounded by the people I loved. If I had that dish now, it's so evocative. I'm sure everyone will relate to that, won't they? It's something that your mum made or your nan made, and you think, gosh, one more day of that would be just really lovely.
I think for me, it's wonderful to be able to pass those things on. We didn't really have that growing up. As I've said before, one of 3 girls. Mum died when I was 10, and we basically lived a lot on cauliflower cheese, baked beans on toast. We used to have tinned new potatoes.
Oh, yeah.
That was something that was always in the cupboard. And salad cream, weirdly. We used to eat a lot of salad cream.
I love salad cream.
Yes, and now I can't even look at it.
That's funny.
And funnily enough, I can't even look at a baked bean. That was really what we just sort of day to day.
So who was cooking predominantly?
My eldest sister did for a while. Dad didn't really cook, to be honest. We just used to grab what we could. That makes it sound like it wasn't wonderful. I mean, it was fine. But now, meals for me is a really important way of showing your family that you love them.
And I hope you don't mind me saying this, but your home is, you walk in the door that you use predominantly to get in and out of your house, and you're in a sort of semi-kitchen boot room, which is very, very homely. And then you're into the enormous kitchen, which is so beautiful and so homely and always has fresh flowers and fresh bread and a stocked fridge and something simmering away in the Arga. And I kind of feel that you embody that person who shows love through food and cooking and feeding others. I think you absolutely embody that. And it's really interesting when you say, I didn't really have that when I was growing up for all the right reasons. And yet that's exactly how you live now.
Yes, because it was really important to me to create that for myself. I think that's probably why I was so desperate to have babies and children as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I was very young. I mean, I look back at the photographs and, I was a child. But it was exactly what I wanted. It couldn't have brought me more pleasure to create my almost, mother, father, 2.4 children around me.
You made your family.
Yes, totally. And to feed people, I think, is such a wonderful thing. And it's sad that people always feel they've got to create something majestic and huge and, Jamie Oliver worthy, when in actual fact, it doesn't have to be very much. Literally, I've had a piece of toast here this morning, and it's, the fact that somebody has done something for you and you are eating it is wonderful. It's wonderful. It's a bit like we were discussing before about flowers. To be able to give someone something from your garden that you've grown, whether it's weeds or roses, it's really important.
Yeah, it is important. And I should say that actually the toast that you had this morning in my kitchen was your own homemade sourdough that you brought yourself. So not so much a gift from me as more a gift to yourself, Pen.
You did put it in the toaster.
I did put it in the toaster, but then I forgot to put the toaster down. And then I gave you the butter full of Marmite and toast crumbs. That's all you need to know about my house, really, isn't it? You can tell a lot of people by the state of their butter.
But it was a beautiful plate. I feel we should post a photograph of that plate.
We can do.
I was hoping I might be able to shove it down my trousers and get it out the door and take it home.
Or you could just ask if you can have it.
I could.
I always knew you were a tea leaf.
That's another thing. When we first met, we had a WhatsApp group called the Tea Leaves.
Set up by Wayne Bridges' manager.
Yes.
because he was teasing us. He's become our great friend. We just love him. And he said, "Pen, have you ever nicked anything?" We were talking about nicking stuff, weren't we? And we can't go into reasons why, because that might be libelous. But we were talking about, out of the three of us, we'd never nicked anything. And did you confess to nicking a sweet once out of Woolies? Was that you?
Yeah, I was absolutely... I mean, I just ate one. And it was terrible.
I wish people could see your body language right now. You are riven with shame. You are absolutely wrapped in guilt.
And then these two... So we had eaten together that evening, hadn't we? And we were talking about had we ever nicked anything.
As you do.
And Aaron said, "Pen, have you ever nicked anything?" And I went, I once ate a sweet out of a pick and mix in Woolworths. And I was horrified that it had happened and that somebody might have caught me. And he said, "I think we should get you to steal something."
Definitely, yeah.
And you tried.
We tried to make you steal chairs.
A spoon.
Candlesticks.
Yeah. And I resisted.
You did. Plus there was almost security guards around us because we'd already been, you had a dodgy look about your pen, I've got to be honest. But that was so funny. I remember that. It's weird, isn't it? Those things from childhood that feel so, you still remember them, don't you? The way that you felt or the way that you... I remember, and I don't know if this is just me, but if anything ever happened at school, it was usually because my brother had done it, to be fair. But the teacher would say, "Until I find out who has, drawn a willy on the wall or who has, done whatever it is you've done, everyone's going to stay in for playtime." And I was always seconds away from putting my hands up and confessing. I just had this desire to say, "Yeah, it was me, let everyone else go. I just feel so bad, it was me." Even if it wasn't anything to do with me.
See, you're a people pleaser.
Is that what it is?
I think that's what it is.
Isn't that terrible, though, to actually want to put my hand up and confess? I mean, God forbid I was ever in a crime situation. I'd do 20 to life just because I felt the guilt. Horrific. Interesting, talking about 20 to life. That was a slinky link, Pen. That was slinky. What would be, we were talking about food earlier, if you were on death row, let's just say...
because I nicked something.
Because finally, that pick and mix manager catches up with you and you're in the slammer, mate. Although stripes suit you, I can see you in the outfit. I think you look fine. And I'd write to you. I'd be one of those people that write to you on death row and go, "Hi, Penny, I'm just sure you misunderstood."
And there'd be so much redaction going on. I wouldn't be able to see anything but black lines.
They'd redact it because it was dull and boring. It's just me talking about your sourdough. But if you were on death row, what would be your last meal?
Probably a roast dinner, or I do a mean lasagna.
Lasagna.
But I'd have to make it myself.
Yes, thank you, Warden. I would love a last meal. Could you just provide me with an arga, some finest beef, and I'm just going to prepare it myself? Yeah, that's not the deal, Mrs.
And it might take a little while.
Exactly. Have to let it marinate
Slow
for a
cooked.
year. That's really interesting. Lasagna. Yeah, a bit dull. I would go for, I'm sure you're going to ask me, I would go for a tin of Heinz tomato soup with a Breville grilled cheese sandwich to dip in it.
Oh, Mandy.
Your face.
We've got so much work to do on you. So much work.
That's my favourite thing in the world, Pam.
Funnily enough, I used to love Heinz tomato soup. Apart from the fact it gives you an orange moustache.
Only if you haven't waxed your moustache, Pen.
Do you drink your soup out of a cup or do you have it in a bowl?
I have it in a bowl because I'm not an animal. But also, funny enough, I waxed my moustache last night. 2 days ago, I looked in the mirror. I thought Magnum PI was behind me. I thought Tom Selleck had crept in for a visit. Wasn't complaining.
No, it's that Poirot again.
Exactly. So I've had a little wax, but no Tash is here to see. Heinz tomato soup. I think it's because I love the taste of it, but also there's something very comforting and nostalgic about it. If ever we were poorly or a bit fed up, or, I don't know, we always seem to have a tin lurking somewhere. So I associate it with feeling warmth and enriched. And I'm sure everyone's screaming at how easy it is to make your own soup. Additive-free and saltless and all the rest of it.
Not when you're poorly.
Exactly.
Yes.
But yeah, that and a Breville. Oh, I do love a Breville cheese sandwich.
Oh, but have you never found the knack of doing exactly that on your arga?
No.
It's really easy.
You say everything's really easy because it is for you. This is me you're talking to, Penny. This is me who, I don't mind you telling the story of what happened the first time I invited you and your lovely other half over for dinner.
Well, you said, "Come over for dinner," you said. "It'll be wonderful," you said. And then you said, which would you like? What would you like from the menu from the local Indian takeaway? And I thought, that's fine. She's obviously been very busy, hasn't got time to cook. And I love a takeaway. I love a takeaway like the rest of you. So we ordered all our food. We get to Mandy. She said, it's okay. It's all in the oven. And I thought, it's going to be in the bottom oven of the Argo. No, she's putting them one by one into the microwave. But she can't understand why it's taking such a long time to cook. And it's because she's got one of these posh combi oven things. She's grilling it. She was grilling my chicken tikka masala to within an inch of its life.
I can remember the rice was like burnt and crusted on top and this solid cold lump underneath.
Yes.
And we didn't know each other well enough at that point. We'd only been friends for months, really. Nearly a decade on.
Yeah.
And literally, I can remember people looking, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's like, would you like me to teach you? No, it's fine. I mean, it was inedible, basically, but yeah.
But we did manage to get through the evening laughing about it.
Thank goodness.
We only stopped once on the way home to stop off at the chippy. No, we didn't. But but I think as well, cooking is like all things. If you enjoy doing it, you know, it makes it easier, doesn't it? I don't like doing the boring stuff, as I said. But actually, the other day I spent all day cooking for a sort of large number of people that were coming over. And I really enjoyed it. It's something completely different. And it's not muddy. I mean, let's be grateful. I'm indoors, I'm staying dry, and it's not muddy.
So have you had time in the garden now the weather's lifted a bit?
Yes, hasn't it been lovely? We've seen a little bit of sunshine, lots going on in the garden.
Warms your cockles.
The roses have been pruned, nice bit of muck round them. The other thing that's really good to do at the moment is if you like dahlias, I've got all my dahlia tubers out and I've got them ready in some nice, slightly moist compost.
I'm not sure what a dahlia is. I have to...
Dahlia. I will post a lovely photograph of a dahlia. They're from Mexico originally, but they are grown by a tuber. So it looks a bit like a knobbly potato. And you, at this time of year, you have to encourage them to wake up. And so you put them into this moist compost.
Put them in my room pen. My yelling, middle of the night, they're going to be wide awake.
And then you wait for them to start shooting and you put them into a pot, or you can just keep them into the compost. And within a couple of months, you've got a really sturdy bit of plant, but you don't put them out until the last frosts have gone. And then from about July right the way through to October, you will be cutting flowers every single day.
Wow.
They are very productive, very, very beautiful, very beautiful. They sort of went out of fashion. They were very in fashion. Remember, grandparents used to grow dahlias along with the chrysanthemums.
Oh, yeah.
But they were very fashionable then, and then they went very out of fashion. It was a bit sort of common.
Doesn't occur to me that flowers might go in and out of fashion. I suppose everything does. But
yeah, definitely flowers do. But now they're very much in fashion.
Why?
Because I think a lot of the British growers have found that it's such a reliable flower to grow in this country. And you can have so many colours, different types. There's a cactus dahlia, there's ball dahlias, there's pom-poms, there's all sorts of different ones in all sorts of different colours. And they are quite an easy thing to grow. So you can start them off indoors and then get them outside the minute the last frost is over. I think we should do you a wonderful big display of dahlias this year.
Well,
I'm
I'm totally down with that, Pen. And also I was thinking, if you're a bride or you have an event or a ceremony coming up and you are quite environmentally conscious, it must be really great to know you're buying British.
Oh, totally. And there are so many growers. I know we talked about this before. There are so many local growers. Just search one out. And the nice thing is if you've got an event or if you just want to have flowers on your table once a week, to actually go and see where they're grown.
Yeah.
It's a really nice thing to do. I sometimes have brides come and they visit the year before they're due to get married.
Risky.
And they come and look round the cutting area and they go, I love that and I love that colour. And then the following year, we keep everything crossed that we can actually provide those things that they want.
Yeah.
But it's great. But even if you've just got a few for your table.
Yeah, that was beautiful, Pen, actually. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was lovely.
See, I find it really interesting that people put that much thought and effort into their weddings. I've got to be honest.
Well, we still haven't really. We need to have that reception that you never had.
No. Yeah, because when I got married, it was literally Simeon and I in our lunchtime, in our lunch hour rather, and we had no guests, no frock, no flowers, no hymns, no nothing, just he and I and the vicar. And then we went home and had a frozen pizza. We cooked it, actually, in fairness, and a cup of tea, and then he went back to work.
So do you sort of yearn for the whole caboodle?
No, I don't. I don't like the idea of everyone looking at me. And I always think, I know so many people who have spent a fortune on their weddings and haven't got a tumble dryer or a washing machine or you know, they can't pay their rent. And I think it's crackers. I mean, each to their own, obviously. And if you get extreme joy from that, then it's up to you. Each to their own, you do you. But personally, I don't know, I just don't think I could justify it. Plus, I just wanted to be married. I wanted to be married to Simeon because I just fell desperately in love with him. And I just wanted to give him the benefit of laying in bed at night, never knowing what I was going to shout out next.
Oh, Pen, do you know, during COVID, it was interesting because we had brides that obviously could only have a very small number of people.
Yeah.
And it was some of the most wonderful, wonderful weddings.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Much
No
more
pressure.
intimate.
No pressure, Pen. That's the thing, isn't it? And let's face it, half those relatives you invite are only because you were invited to theirs or their kids and you don't really want them there anyway.
No.
You know, especially when it's, 20 quid, 40 quid a head.
Oh, and the rest.
For a plate of scampi.
I think you'll find nowadays you're looking at least £75 to £100 per person.
Well, are you going to laugh?
No. And I think that's conservative.
Good Lord above.
Yeah, it is.
I had no idea. I'm so out of touch. I'm out of touch, Pen. We know this. What a lovely chat.
Yeah, it's been great this morning.
It's been really great, Pen. We hope everyone has enjoyed listening. As ever, give us a follow, give us a like, tell us what you think about our podcast. Get in touch on our Instagram page, which is
At the Chit Chatters.
@the Chit Chatters. And until next time, take care.